While Lebanon produces little hard, up-to-date economic data, the shattering position of business owners, reports from union leaders, industry groups, and traders paint a picture of an economic and financial crisis without precedent since independence in 1943. Decades of corruption and financial mismanagement by warlords turned politicians and the cabal of business elites combined with a greedy banking sector to plunge Lebanon's rentier economy into its worst crisis in living memory. More than 300,000 jobs in the private sector have been shed since mid-October, when protests fueled by worsening economic conditions erupted against the political elite. Experts have agreed that it's a social catastrophe. This is the heaviest one-shot drop since the end of the civil war in the country, and there seems no end in sight. Most businesses are frozen, stuck between banks that will not cash checks and suppliers demanding payment in US dollars that disappeared from the financial market. Hard-hit businesses were dealt yet another blow when Lebanon ordered malls, restaurants, and other venues to close to stop the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, as well as halting flights from the worst-hit countries. Lebanon's Prime Minister Hassan Diab is holding the country's central bank governor Riyad Salameh responsible for the downward spiral of the national currency, the lira. The Prime Minister accused Salameh of pursuing opaque policies that sent the lira crashing against the dollar. The tiny Mediterranean country of about 5 million people, one of the most indebted in the world, is no longer hanging off a cliff. It is officially in free-fall mode, just like its currency. Welcome to the Middle East Stream. I'm Marwa Osman. The past 6 months have brought hardships unseen in Lebanon even during the bitter days of its 15-year civil war that ended in 1990. Decades of corruption and financial mismanagement by warlords turned politicians and a cabal of business elites combined with the greedy banks to plunge Lebanon's economy into its worst crisis in living memory. To discuss this issue with us from Beirut is Dr. Nasri, harb economist from Izal University. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Nasri. Now, the past 6 months have been very tough on Lebanon, and now the monetary and economic authorities have failed in their duty to supposedly protect the value of the national currency, which is the lira, at an exchange rate which this morning was 4,000 Lebanese lira to the dollars, and then it changed to 4,200 Lebanese lira to the dollar, which is 1.6 times its official rate. What do you think should be done to safeguard what is left of the national security in this country?
Okay, hi Marwa. Actually, the Lebanese government is in a situation that nobody envies it. Okay, it's in the midst of a crisis, a multi-pronged crisis. Okay, the main issue now is who is going to pay for the misbehavior of the government, for misconducting the financial, fiscal and monetary policy. Who will pay for this mistake? Elite, small depositors, taxpayers, or even the future generation? Basically and economically speaking, what should be done in this, at this stage is to stop the depreciation of the lira. Okay, we were at 4,000 and this morning, and like a couple of days ago we were at 3,000, now 4,000, and tomorrow we are heading to a higher level. Okay, so what we need to do is really stop the depreciation of the lira plus a strict capital control. Okay, a well-organized capital control. Because you need to calm the market. That's one. That's in the very short run. That's the immediate action. Plus restructuring of the bank. What we need to do, people need to see, need to relax, need to see that, to trust the system again, at least the basic stuff. So I believe there is also a big plan here. A big problem with the banking system is that who will pay for restructuring the banking system? Should we go to bail-in program or a bail-out program? The bail-out is very difficult to obtain funds from abroad. Bail-in is within the fight. Who will pay for the bail-in? The small depositor, the large depositor, and so on. So in the very short run, in the immediate action, so these two actions are necessary. First, stopping the depreciation with a strict capital control, and two, restructuring the banks. In a little longer horizon, like I won't say like longer, it means like it should be done like not next year, but very soon as well. We have to action enhancing judicial body, okay, and to come up with a real economic plan.
What do you mean by enhancing the judicial body? What for?
Fighting corruption. Fighting corruption, because this country is heading nowhere, and there is a huge amount of funds that have been stolen from this government, from the people, okay? So
Well,
we need to catch up and get back at least some part of them. That will help in two sides. One, it will help bring back some money, and two, bring back some trust to the government.
Well, Dr. Harb, already ravaged livelihoods are now buckling under the economic disruption of the coronavirus pandemic, as well to this economic chaos in Lebanon. It is forcing people to seek aid from the government for the first time, probably in their lives. And only a fraction of those who are in need of these kinds of financial aid from the government are actually qualified for this assistance. So is government aid here enough to try and fix the lives of those who are truly in need?
Well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The government is paying 400,000 lira. Before the crisis, this was come to 266 US dollar. But with the today's rate, they are even less than $100. Prices in Lebanon are not cheaper than abroad. They are very expensive. So 400,000 lira are never enough. However, what can you do? The government is broke. And we need to shut down the businesses in order to protect the population. Like if we don't shut down businesses and businesses will operate as usual, the health bill for the government will be huge. So it's better, like two better choices. The least bitter one is to shut down businesses and pay 400,000.
Well, this would have, as you just said, it would have actually worked well if the economy was not in shatters in Lebanon. But a very important part of the problem that the media has been talking about throughout the past couple of weeks is the role of the BDL, Banque du Liban, what is known as the Lebanese Central Bank. They tried to solve the hyperinflation that you spoke about in this very small import-dependent economy in Lebanon by first issuing central bank circulars. They were issuing circulars faster than the health circulars. We were seeing one circular per week speaking about a different rate each time. They tried printing money, which is a disaster, and they tried freezing public spending. They obviously just worsened the situation here, but could you pinpoint to us how they actually worsened the situation?
Printing those circulars were not credible because you cannot implement them. That's what was obvious. Yeah, and this morning or yesterday we had a BDL circular that obliged everybody to sell the dollar at 3,200, and now in the market it was equal to 4,000. It became a joke in the media. If you have seen the media, social media, everybody was laughing at this decision. That's one. Two, regarding printing money per se is not the cause of the inflation. Printing money, what happened is that people were running into the banks to withdraw their deposits. And so the amount of cash required from the population became very high. So like normally people will hold, for instance, 10% or 20% of their need cash, of their need money in form of cash. The remaining would stay in the bank in form of checking account or current account. But now everybody is withdrawing the money, withdrawing his cash. So you need to print the money. The problem is, when you are printing money and people are withdrawing this money, nobody is willing to keep this money cash because it loses value every day. I was just at Carrefour now, and people were lining up because Carrefour is adjusting its prices this evening. So they are scaling up the prices. So like your money, this is a normal phenomenon in hyperinflation. People want to get rid of their money immediately. So they withdraw the money from the banks, get rid of them by either purchasing goods or services or converting them to US dollars. So in this way, they can at least cover or help or keep a part of this wealth, if you want.
Well, the ruling class in Lebanon, who seems to be still sitting on the sidelines, they are driving the economy into chaos. This is what most of the media is reporting about in Lebanon. And they're saying that they're doing so in order to better rule the people of this country, especially the poorer ones in this country. And most probably buy the remaining assets. And we're talking about the remaining governmental assets, public assets, cheaply in order to maybe harden their grip on the country's political, social, and economic decision-making process. This is exactly what they did in 1992, just after the end of the 15-year civil war in Lebanon. Do you think this will actually work again?
I don't believe it will happen as easy as it happened in 1992. First, the previous economic system has proven false. It didn't work. Two, we are in an era of social media. Like everybody knows everything. Government, political elite, economical elite cannot hide everything. Everything is being published, and people knows everything. That's from the one side. From the other side, despite all the controversial 17th of October protest, it had a positive impact. People now are willing to move, to protest, to fight against any government action, whether you agree with it or not. These guys have brought in some awareness. So a third one, many politicians have taken decision, it was in their election program to fight corruption. So, and there is an election that is coming, I think in 2 years or 2.5 years. They should appear, they should present something to their electors, to the people, to show them that we are fighting corruption. So these are three factors that can help in fighting corruption and fighting this stealing the public asset. However, whether it will work or not, I go back to the first point that we are in the mid of a fight between many people in this country, elite people, politicians, and reformists. Who will win? Well, it's really difficult to say, but I'm quite optimistic.
Well, in hopes for the best for this small Mediterranean country. Thank you very much, Dr. Nasri, harb economist from Uzal University, for being with us. Please stay tuned for our next segment about Palestine.